You're tuned into the stellar award-winning internet radio station.
You're at the right place at the right time.
Yes, Lord Radio.
Hold up. Wait just a minute. It's Roz on your radio.
Keep it locked right here.
Showcase, fellowship, inspire. Showcase.
Hey, it's Roz on the radio.
Showcase, fellowship, inspire.
Yes, Lord Radio.
Now it's time for another Yes, Lord Radio exclusive.
Hey, everybody, it's Roz on the radio, and you're listening to another YLR exclusive. My guest today is a former NFL player and now host of the new reality series coming to USA, The Moment. Kurt Warner is here with us today talking about the new show. But first, Kurt, thanks so much for joining us. It's so great to have you.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be on.
Awesome. Now, I had a chance to watch the premiere of this show, and I was floored. There are so many emotions that I think about. I was crying one moment, and then one moment I was just sitting on the edge of my seat. So a lot of high energy going into this show. Tell us first, though, what inspired this show?
Well, actually, the idea was brought to me by our production company. And obviously, the idea and the premise behind the show is that everybody has a dream. You know, at some point in time in our lives, we all have a dream of what we want to be, what we want to accomplish. And unfortunately, sometimes life gets in the way. Mm-hmm. You know, that unforeseen circumstances out of our control kind of enter into our life and force us to step away from our dream. Mm-hmm. And usually when that happens, it's very difficult to get back on track. You know, that mm-hmm. people kind of get stuck in that way of life and never get back on track. And so the goal of this show is for me as the host to step back into these individuals' lives after, taking this drastic turn and giving them a second opportunity to chase their dream. Mm-hmm. And so, extremely excited about it, being a person that knows what a second chance is all about. That the only reason that I had the NFL career that I did was because somebody was willing to give me a second chance. I'm so excited about this show. And as you said, I recognize so many different steps that these individuals have to go through, the struggles, the trials, the obstacles they have to overcome, the breakthroughs that they have, the possibilities that sit out there for them when they're living in things that they're passionate about, and when they have a chance to live their dream, the way that it can change them and the way that it can change their entire family. So many great things about this show, but that's really where the premise came from, is that it's something that I think speaks to all of us. Those that have had the fortune of living our dreams, we understand what it took, what you have to go through. And then there's so many out there that haven't had that opportunity that I think this will resonate and hopefully inspire and encourage them to take steps to chase theirs as well.
Awesome. Now, and so this is very personal to you. I heard you mention that you were given a second chance. Tell us about that.
Well, I was a guy that had a dream of playing professional football from the time I was 8, 9, 10 years old. And, things looked pretty good through high school, but then as I headed off to college, I ended up sitting on the bench for 4 years in college. Mm-hmm. Got a tryout with my first professional team with the Green Bay Packers and was cut just a few weeks into that tryout.
Wow.
From there, I ended up working in a grocery store, trying to find any way, shape, or form to keep my dream alive. Mm-hmm. From there, I played arena football, and I went to Europe before finally getting my second chance when I was 27 years old with the St. Louis Rams. Mm-hmm. They took a chance on me and was able to turn that into a 12-year NFL career and
wonderful.
And a lot of success along the way. So it was a long time coming and a lot of circumstances that could have, told me it's time to give up. There was a lot of people along the way that told me it was time to give up. Mm-hmm. But it was amazing. I felt God had a plan. I felt God gifted me to do that. And so I continued to persevere through that. And when I got my chance, I jumped at it. I was ready for the opportunity. And fortunate for me, it all worked out.
Awesome. Now, so tell us about your role. You're going to be hosting this show, obviously, and you get to work pretty closely with I don't want to call them contestants because this is their life, but tell us about that.
Yeah, we like to call them hopefuls instead of contestants, but hopefuls. Those are hoping to live their dream. But yeah, it's great, because obviously I take on the role of host. So one of my roles is going to be getting us in and out of the show and from one spot to another. But the great part is that having lived what these hopefuls are going through, having experienced the highs and lows and the possibilities and the changes that come about in the pursuit of your dream, I also get that opportunity. I get that opportunity to share life with these people, to share experiences, to hopefully encourage them and teach them through some of the things that I went through, to be a cheerleader for them. And so it's really a great opportunity to help bring people along. In each episode, we have a coach or a mentor for the different individuals in their field. An individual that's at the top level in their field that takes them through and trains them. But I get to kind of come alongside and help along the way and encourage along the way and add whatever expertise I have, not necessarily to the career field, but to the pursuit of their dream. And so it's more than just the host role of introducing the show and introducing the characters.
Right.
I also get to be involved because I've lived that life.
It's a very emotional roller coaster to see people come this close to fulfilling the dreams in their life. This is an amazing series. And also, just to touch on this, there are so many reality series out there. Of course, we see America's Next Top Model. You can be a fashion designer. You can be a singer, all of these things, but nothing quite like this. Tell us a little bit about what makes this show different than other shows.
Well, I mean, I think, there's a couple components. And I think the first part is the story that goes with it. The idea that I think there's going to be a lot of people that sit at home and the stories can resonate with them, that some circumstance in life, took them away from their dream because, life's not always fair. Life doesn't always treat us like we hope. Life doesn't always work out exactly as we had planned. And I think a lot of people can associate with that. And so I think that's one thing that's going to grab people. But I think the other part, too, is that, that it's ordinary people across the board, different fields. Like you mentioned, you see the American Idols and The Voice. And, people watch those shows, and they're fun shows because you get to see somebody accomplish their dream.
Right.
But, you have to be able to sing. You have to be talented. And it's kind of just one dimension. What I love about our show is that it's across the board, whatever you want to do. And I think people are going to be able to associate that. I mean, we have a music conductor. We have a guy that wants to be a race car driver, a sailor, a sports photographer, a choreographer, a chef. And I think that's going to also connect with a lot of people, that it's not just, a show that is based off of one career and having to be talented in one area.
Right.
This is, hey, what is your gift? What are your skills? We're all gifted in different ways. And the hope of this show is to be able to kind of cross all those demographics and cross into every career field and let people know it doesn't matter what you want to do. You can still chase after your dream. You can still make it happen. And so that's what I think is going to be unique about the show.
Absolutely. And now, how are the people selected?
Well, go through a nomination process. And so we don't allow individuals to nominate themselves. So the nominations have to come from a family member, a friend, an acquaintance that knows the story. So they nominate them. And then obviously we go through an entire nomination process of, what's the field? How skilled are they? What's the story that goes behind it? And, so there's a whole process that goes into it from that point, but it starts with a simple nomination, from somebody close to you, that shares your story and shares your skill. And then from there, we narrow it down to those we think would fit exactly what the show's looking for, and those that we want to give a second chance to.
And once they are selected, they actually have the opportunity to pair up with someone in their field. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's obviously, these individuals, where they start, they're usually down some other career path and doing something else and kind of sitting at home and not really pursuing what their dream is. And so they got a long way to go in the 2.5 weeks that they're together. So what we're fortunate to have is we have found some tremendous mentors or coaches in their particular career fields, individuals that have accomplished unbelievable, unbelievable accomplishments in that career field, and we hook them up. And so that mentor really who understands what it goes into, to having a career, to live in the dream in that field, takes them through a couple weeks of training where they take them through different exercises, different training exercises, pushing them to the limits, finding out what their skills are, what they need to develop, really just do a tremendous job of trying to get them as up to speed as they possibly can in the short period of time. So when that job interview or that audition at the end of the show comes about, they can be as prepared as possible to sell themselves and to sell their gifts and skills to that employer in hopes of obtaining the job and hopefully chasing it all the way to the top.
Wonderful. Well, I absolutely am going to watch this show, but I see the glory of God in it. And people say, how do you see that in, a TV show? This is just a TV show. But it really is more than that. It's God allowing people to have that opportunity that he knew was in their heart all along. Let's talk about that a little bit. Your faith in particular, do you see the role of faith in this series at all?
No question about it. I think, being a Christian man, I think the one thing about the Christian faith is that it's all about second chances.
Yeah.
It's all about, where life doesn't go your direction or where maybe we mess up or we stumble and fall, that, Jesus comes in and lifts us up and says, it's not over. You know, that I've got more that I want to do with you. There's more that I want to accomplish with you, that, you don't have to allow those things to dictate the rest of your life. And for me, that's what this show is. It's a show of second chances. It's a show of, stop allowing your circumstances and what's happened in the past to dictate what the possibilities are for the future. And so I think there's a direct correlation, even though it's not necessarily a Christian show. I believe that the Christian theme is all through this thing. And a big part of why I wanted to be involved, being a Christian man, was to be able to bring that theme and that spirit to what this show is all about.
And I know we'll embrace all of them. I can't wait to see every last one of these episodes. But there's the one with the sports photographer. Who's her mentor?
Lou Jones is her mentor, and he's he's a sports photographer that's been all around the world and covered numerous Olympics and just decorated in so many different ways. And he really does a tremendous job of there's a balance of the mentors to teach, to encourage, but also to push, these hopefuls as far as they can push them. Sometimes they have to be a bad guy and they've got to get on them because there's only a short period of time that stands between the mentor and this person's dream. And so the mentors did a tremendous job. Lou did a tremendous job of really taking this personal, and that what they're trying to teach and do for these hopefuls, it becomes kind of an extension of them, that they want to, get them as ready as possible, and they take ownership of getting them ready so that they can chase their dream. And so it's an essential and an important part of the whole dynamic is how the mentor interacts and his ability or her ability to push these hopefuls as far as they can go. And
I love when he says, if you want to be great at anything, that means you have to be fearless.
Yeah, well, and it's so true that you find that out with almost all of the hopefuls, is that there's some sort of fear that has prevented them from truly chasing their dream. There's some sort of fear that's holding them back, not just in these episodes, but before we even got a hold of them for these episodes. And so I think there's so much truth to that you can't let fear of failure. You can't let fear of of following the same path as somebody else or what could happen affect you from truly chasing after what you're passionate about. And I think it's true across the board. It might look different in different circumstances, but I definitely think it's a part of everybody's path.
Awesome. Well, Kurt, I want to thank you again for hanging out with us today, and be on the lookout for this show. We're going to tell you when it's coming to you on USA, but first I want to know what you think about it. Have you seen the previews of it? Are you really excited about it? I know that I am. Let us know what you think by visiting us on the YLR Shout Box, visiting me on Facebook.com and Twitter.com/Roz on the radio. And for the recap of this show, of course, you can check us out at rozontheradio.com. And Kurt, how can everybody, first of all, stay connected to you and tune in to see this show?
Well, you can tune into the show. It premieres on USA Network. Check your local listings for the time, but it's called The Moment. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Kurt13Warner. We have continual updates. We've got some contests going on right now where you can win some stuff from me and some stuff from the show. So you can follow me on Twitter to find out more information. I'm continually updating the show, what's going on, where we're going to be, where we're promoting it. So Kurt13Warner on Twitter or Facebook is probably the best way to stay in touch with what's going on with The Moment.
Awesome. Kurt Warner, guys, with The Moment. Thanks so much for joining us.